Hello, everyone. This is Keith Rowe with Vital Healing. Thank you for being here. Today's essay is my latest Substack, Learning to Rewild with Barn Owls. It grew out of some recent work building birdhouse and wood duck nesting boxes. As I was researching those plans, I came across a barn owl box and started learning more about how barn owls live, hunt, and help hold balance on the land. I had some scrap wood around and decided to build the owl box using what was already here, reclaimed pieces, leftovers, and any scraps I could find. As I moved through that process, it became a way to reflect on a larger shift that's been unfolding. It's a move away from constant control and toward letting the land and the more than human world around me do more of what it already knows how to do. If you want to see the build itself, there's a time-lapse available alongside the essay. For now, this is the spoken version of the piece. Learning to Rewild with Barn Owls. As many of my readers know, I've been building different types of nesting boxes over the last month and placing them around the farm, creating more space for wildlife to return and settle. And what began as one or two small projects slowly became a rhythm of measuring, cutting, assembling, and learning as I went. As I was researching plans, I came across a PDF for barn owl nesting boxes, and that tickled my brain. I'd not been thinking about owls, but I've always loved their mystery and quiet beauty. The more I read, the more curious I became. That curiosity led me to learn more about how they live and hunt, and how closely their presence is tied to the health and balance of a local ecosystem. I learned that barn owls are quiet and efficient hunters. They do most of their work at night, and they ask very little from the land, beyond space and shelter, and a place to raise their young. So the barn owl box fit naturally alongside the other boxes already going up around here. For a long time, this land and my life carried a very different kind of intensity. During my 30 years of large-scale poultry production, feed moved through the farm in enormous volumes. The chickens consumed close to 500,000 pounds every month. And anywhere that much feed is present, rodents are guaranteed to follow. Rodent control became constant. Baits and poisons were part of the routine. We rotated products every few months to keep the mice and rats from building a tolerance to the active ingredient. And it was not something I enjoyed, but at that scale, complete control became part of the work. Over the last year, as I've begun to scale things back, the questions have started to change. I'm no longer focused on how to eliminate rodents. I'm working to restore balance. I'm trying to step out of the business of managing every outcome and let the land take on more of that for itself. And that's where the barn owl box really began to make sense. Barn owls are not interested in our systems or schedules. They hunt quietly, moving low over the fields and along hedgerows. A single family can consume a remarkable number of rodents simply by living the life that they were made for. No chemicals, no secondary poisonings, no ongoing intervention, only the owl's presence. Working with owls is not about outsourcing a problem. It's about stepping back far enough to let another kind of intelligence participate. As I built the nesting box, I tried to follow that same spirit. I started with a used piece of plywood, measuring and marking out the pattern, doing the best I could with what I had. The edges were not perfect. The lines wandered a little. Making long cuts with a skill saw has a way of reminding you that precision is not always guaranteed, and that's fine. I cut up scrap pieces of wood to make supports. Some were old 1x2s and 2x4s, and some of them even still had nails in them that I had to remove. It was not especially pretty, and all of it worked exactly as it needed to. You don't have to be a master carpenter to make a home that an owl or other wildlife will love. I attached a support piece in each corner first, giving each panel something solid to fasten to. And later I added more scrap pieces in the middle so the top and the bottom could have support. It was a build shaped by function more than appearance. At one point, I thought I was finished. I'd already screwed the top onto the box when I realized that I'd forgotten something important. The interior partition that helps keep predators from reaching the chicks was still missing. So I took the top back off. I paused and looked at what I had, and it took a few minutes, but I figured out how to add the partition after the fact, using glue and some scrap wood. It took a little creativity and a little patience, and I reminded myself that it did not have to be perfect. Later I realized something else. One of the end panels needed to be cut in half so that I could open it for cleaning in between seasons. So that meant I had to take another piece back off and rework it. Nothing was ruined. It simply became the next step. That's part of the joy of building this way. You take it as it comes. You breathe with it, and you work with what's in front of you. After creating the opening for cleaning, I finished by drilling a few ventilation holes and adding a decorative metal plate to the front of the box. I ended up with a small gap along one edge of the bottom. But that's no worry. It will still serve its purpose well. The birds have never complained about a little imperfection. This box will be mounted up under the roof of a shed, protecting it from weather and harsh sun, overlooking open fields and grasslands where the owls can hunt. It offers shelter, not control. An invitation, not a guarantee. Rewilding the land, I'm learning, also asks something of us. As the world around me is given more room to return to itself, something in how I live and move begins to loosen as well. I'm noticing patience replacing urgency, trust taking the place of control, and something in me learning how to stand back and listen again. For anyone interested, I've included a PDF of the barn owl information and box plan that I used as a starting point. The build is forgiving, and the plans are a simple guide. I found this PDF through the Santa Clara Valley Bird Alliance. Many thanks to them. Thank you for listening. This project reminded me that rewilding is often less about doing more and more about stepping back. It asks us to loosen our grip and notice what wants to return when we stop interfering so much. There is a wisdom already at work around us, in the land, in our bodies, and in the way life organizes itself when given the chance. Sometimes the work is simply to listen. If you would like to explore this further, the written essay and a short time lapse of the build are available through Substack and YouTube. The links are below in the show notes. Thank you for being with me on this vital healing journey as we find our way back to ourselves and back to each other. Until next time.